Right, everyone, we are here with Andrea Willis. I'm so excited. Before we even start, though, for every emoji, for every comment, for everything, we're going to give her $1 towards Amazon because she is
Yay.
super awesome. Okay, Andrea, tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do, all about you.
Okay, so my name is Andrea Wills. I will be soon 60. I live in Howard County, Maryland, so not far from Nara and Sarah. I'm in outside sales, and I joined the program in January.
So, joined in January. Tell
Yeah,
us where your health was, where your fitness, where your thoughts were, mindset, self-esteem was before, what was going
sure.
on before joining the midlife
Okay.
over program.
So before joining, I had actually, over the course of like a year and a half, had lost about 20 pounds on two different GLP-1s. But I plateaued, wasn't seeing any movement, was still hungry, and thought that I really didn't want to have to be on medications for the rest of my life. So I don't say that to judge anyone who chooses that path or has been on that path, but I still was heavier than I wanted to be. And at the same time, I was tired. I wasn't motivated. I did think I knew it all about like diet and exercise because I've gone through so many different programs, plans, diets, and so forth over the course of my adult life. And um, menopause kind of hit me really hard with weight loss, particularly. So I was, even after losing 20 pounds, I was still heavier than I'd ever been. Didn't like how I looked in pictures. The other thing is like I was like my joints kind of ached. I do have hypothyroidism, so I was already taking medicine every day for that. And I have a family history of diabetes, and like I said, I was like heading to be 60, and like I didn't want to be like 70 years old and on insulin or not being able to do what I want to do, not being able to have a full life. So that was very motivating too. Like the clock is ticking, and I thought, you know what, I've got to get a grip on this like now. Like, there's no time to waste. So I was kind of in a place of like I don't know what else there is. Like I don't know what else to do. Like I knew I've done Weight Watchers in the past. I've done like the old MetaFast, Noom, doing my own thing. I never really did hardcore keto. I've done things similar to that. Intermittent fasting. Like, I mean, the only things I probably never did were things where you like Jenny Craig or whatever, like that kind of stuff. Because I just never wanted to eat like that kind of prepackaged stuff, even though I'd eaten prepackaged MetaFast stuff. So anyway, yeah. So by December of last year, after seeing the results that a friend of mine had working with coaches, Sarah and Narit, I was like, okay, what's she doing? Because this is a lady who I'm speaking of is probably even busier than me with a schedule way more packed than mine. So if she found something that's working for her, then I need to know about it. So she and I spoke, and actually I saw her video similar to this on the Facebook page. And then, I kind of reached out to her, and here we are.
So that's super helpful. So tell us, like, what are your biggest wins in starting this program? Like, how does it fit into your life? We have
Sure.
so many busy working women, and yet they're still having so many wins. So tell me all about it. You
Right.
tell us.
So one of the wins is, wow, like, I can do like 5 to 6 different strength training or ab workouts in my house and be done literally within half an hour. Like that was a complete game changer. Like I don't need specialized equipment. Even, luckily I already had a mat, a fitness ball, and a bunch of hand weights. So I didn't need to have a special setup somewhere in my house, whatever. I could do it. But the big thing was, and the big takeaway and the big win for me is getting that consistent training in, but not it not being like this insurmountable, like 2-hour regimen. I have lost about 15 pounds. I've lost inches. I've had to put clothes in the dryer because I didn't want to have to immediately run out and buy new pants. I'm like, okay, no, these are really good pants. I'll just put them in the dryer. So I've lost a clothing size. I'm definitely eating better. And again, I thought I knew a lot about food and fitness and protein and macros. So talking with both coaches, Nara and Sarah, like kind of clued me in like, yeah, you don't really know as much as you think you know. And they were very kind about it. Nobody was condescending or anything like that. So being able to eat a lot better, make a lot better choices, eat real food, all of that is definitely a win. And also just having motivation. So people have asked me like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I've changed this, and that, but I got to say, essentially having the accountability to someone knowing like, oh, she's going to look at that. And not that the feedback will be negative or punitive or anything like that, but there will be feedback like, hey, what happened? Or did you ever think you could do this as a snack versus, the thing that you logged that you had.
That is wonderful. And you are doing, and it's continuing to do so well. I know that you came in and you were like, my friend Dawn, that's,
Mhm.
is on, she's so super busy and she could do, and she's continuing to be successful, like so many of our women are. But what were you kind of skeptical or worried about when you first started?
Good question. I doubted myself. Like, would I keep up with this logging and tracking? Because I had done Noom and I had done my fitness plan, or yeah, my fitness pal, or Weight Watchers, whatever, all the apps. And I would typically fall off after a couple of weeks because it was such a pain in the butt. Like, and honestly, I think in the past couple of years since I've tried those, the apps have gotten way better. They're smarter. They have way more content. So it's not as much of a pain. I thought that I wouldn't that I would lose momentum with the tracking, and I have not, and it's a lot faster. It doesn't take as long as I thought. The other thing I kind of doubted myself about was would I be able to resist treats, because I also had kind of gotten into the habit of like, well, I guess I'm going to be heavy. I wasn't motivated, so I would enjoy like my ice cream at night, or the cookies, or the bagels, or running into Royal Farms and getting like a coffee and a muffin when I was hungry mid morning. So those are wins that I'm super proud of, because I really thought, I'm like, I don't know, you have a sweet tooth. Are you gonna be able to do it? And most of the time I do.
And
Um,
what is your kind of like your favorite part about doing this? Like, what
oh,
have you learned? You know what I mean? Because
yeah.
before you did all the things, but they didn't work for you. So why
Um,
have you been able to stay so consistent?
I think because everything is doable. Like I mentioned earlier, the tracking doesn't take that long. That, and I think the workouts. I thought again, like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be hard, but they're really not.
Let's talk a little bit about self-confidence.
Mhm.
Tell us about how your self-confidence has been affected by from there to now, from January till now.
Yeah, well, I guess just the fact that I know I can do it is that these successes beget success. So if you start seeing the scale moving, obviously that's a motivation, like, wow, it's working. Or if you start, like I started seeing inches, wow, it's working. Or wow, I'm actually doing these workouts and they really only take 25 minutes. Like, yeah, I can keep doing it. And also like just having people say like, hey, what are you doing? You look good. You lost some weight. And I'm like, yep, I sure have.
It feels good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm vain. I'm not gonna lie.
Everyone is.
So
Everyone is. Everyone is. Let me ask you this last question. What would you say to someone who's either just kind of started following us or been following us for a while and just kind of like nervous about pulling the trigger to just maybe think about doing our program or
mhm.
signing up for a call? What would you say to someone like that?
I think you really have nothing to lose to sign up for a call. I mean, if anything, if it's not a match for you with this program, then at least you've gained some information. You've made a connection, because maybe it will be for you in a month, in 6 months, in a year. So you never lose anything by taking the opportunity for complimentary, consultation. It isn't, it's an investment, and it's an investment in health. And I think when people sit down and figure out like, well, gosh, I spent all that money on Jenny Craig, or I spent all that money on GLPs, or I spent all that money on gym membership, or I spent all that money on, whatever, Metafast, or, other things that are out there. A lot of those things are kind of temporary fixes, but they're not changing the mindset. And I think the investment here is not only having accountability, like someone who's literally, I'm not going to say you're at beck and call, but I mean, you all are pretty available. So everyone has to figure out for herself, like, is this an investment I can do? Especially when you compare it to the long term of like, gosh, in my case, like, I don't want to be diabetic and like, God forbid, having to go to like dialysis, or just being on medications long term. Like just the idea of like, if I don't get my health in gear, am I going to be on, blood pressure medicines, insulin, cholesterol, all those things also add up too, not just in dollars and cents, but also in quality of life. So, yeah, I'm not going to say it's not a significant investment, but it's a worthwhile investment that is working for me. So, yeah.
I always say that anything is worth anything is worth, like getting married, having children.
Mm-hmm.
If you, if you're listening to this and you're thinking like, I am Andrea, like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh, I'm like about to turn 60 or I'm in my 60s and I, done all the things, I've lost a good amount of weight, but I really want to lose more and feel good and kind of turn around some of these health things, message us, be like Andrea. And we'll happy to start a conversation. It doesn't commit you to anything, but, it's just starting a conversation. Don't forget to leave Andrea all these emojis, all these happy emojis so she
Thank
can
you.
get more money. Andrea, thank you so much for taking the time today, for sharing. That is going to help inspire and empower so many women to make a change.
All right. Happy to help.